Hey y'all, it's Kimber, back with another installment of Real Regular for Love and Hip Hop, Season 9, Episode 3. It's been a pretty underwhelming few episodes this season. This episode wasn't very different.
My keys and shit fall out of my pocket. Or did I put it back? Didn't put it back. Oh, I did put it back. I put it in the wrong socket. I get old. Dad said it the other day too. He said you're getting old. Face up to the facts.
So we opened the episode with
I'm
Yandy.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, babe. I didn't know you were filming. Damn, yo, you don't waste no time. That was funny. I'm sorry. Let's see.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another Real Regular video with Kimber. It's me, giving you Thundercat madness this lovely afternoon. And I want to quickly review this Love and Hip Hop episode 3 season 9 situation. I haven't really been blown away by this season so far, and when I consider how much further we have to go, I really wonder if it's worth talking about at this point. We start with Yandy and Juju meeting up to talk about what happened at Jonathan's party. It was a confusing night for everyone, Yandy says, and she didn't really get to talk to Juju. It was a confusing night for everyone because everyone was drunk and high. They're sitting there talking, and Juju feels like she's being discussed by people that she's supposed to trust, and I hate that feeling. I hate when friends have feelings and thoughts, when anyone close to me has feelings and thoughts about me and they tell other people and it gets back to me. Why not talk to me about it if that's how you feel, you know? So I could see why Juju was upset by it, and she pinpoints Yandy as the source of the whole claim that Juju is secretive. There's nothing wrong with being private and reserved about your business. I don't understand why it's even a discussion. I feel like, we're kind of deviating from the main thing, which is that Juju had an idea with Jonathan and she took it and ran with it for her own benefit. That's the whole point of this. All this other shit about Juju not disclosing details about her breakup. 10 years is a long time to be with somebody. And there's no fucking reason to prematurely discuss it with anyone, Like, 10 years, that doesn't just go away overnight. So even if she were to tell Yandy, like, hey, we broke up, they might be back together, the next week. And at that point, it's like everybody hates him and all that shit. No one needs that in their life. And everyone deals with things differently. But Yandy, of all people, should know what it is to be secretive, because she was out here playing marriage and didn't tell anyone that she actually didn't sign the paper. She was willing to let everyone continue to believe that she's Mrs. Harris or whatever the fuck. Yandy she's just getting exposed this season. Like, her ass is just covered in scales, and they're just glistening in the sun. We see the scales. We see you slithering around our ankles, bitch. Like, you're always fucking talking about how loyal you are and how much of a good friend you are, but all of these inconsistencies keep catching up with you. You want to tell what you want to tell about yourself, but you're supposed to be well informed about what everyone else has going on. Why? So you could put it in another book? Remember, just the other day, you were telling Juju's story in that book. Why the fuck would she tell you anything? She's annoying. She's really annoying. I hope by next season, Yandy has no friends. She's a fucking serpent. She's a serpent. So, we get to this scene with whack-ass Rich Dollaz and Juelz corny ass, and talk to Rich and, yo bro, and we so cool, like we're overly cool, we those niggas in our minds only, like no one really fucking cares about us, but you know, like our lives might be a little hard, but we're gonna act like it's lit. It's really draining to watch them, you know, pretend to be the cool dudes. Like, I think it says something when Joe Burden is like the coolest nigga on the show. I think there's a lot to be said about that. But, you know, they're talking. Juelz's titties are like getting caught under his shirt, like, and he's just standing there talking to Rich about Nia Lee. If we remember Nia Lee, she was the bald girl some seasons ago that a lot of people were clowning because she had, like, that little part. I'm a bald girl myself, and I thought she looked good. I thought she had a lot of potential, and then she kind of just faded into obscurity. Rich Dollaz, like, one thing about him, he's a cornball, and he always seems to have some kind of business shit going on, but I can definitely give him this. He has the nastiest mouth, because he ripped her to shreds in his confessional. So, apparently Nia Lee is back this season. And then Rich says that he has this other artist named Sydney Star. And I feel like I've heard her name before. But Sydney is like this really attractive transgender woman. You know, she's giving real fish. She's giving soft, feminine. Like, she looks really good. And he wants them to work together. Now, Juelz doesn't know that she's transgender at first. So, I guess that's supposed to be a thing. We cut to Kimber, Jonathan, Anais, and Sin getting together for some... I guess they're on like a rooftop. I don't know where they are, but they get together to drink and talk about everything that happened. And I don't know, they're just a weird group. They're just a weird ass group. Like, everyone talks, but nobody listens. And again, I'm pretty sure they're all high to some degree. Anais, especially. She didn't even give him a moment to express himself and explain to her what it was. It was just instantly, it wasn't my fault that your funeral went left. And then Kimber looked amazing, by the way, like in this all blue outfit. And Kimber, I get her point, because like we all saw that she didn't say anything about Juju, and Jonathan just kind of dragged her into it and won't own up to it. And is still under this weird impression that she said something too. It's like him and Anais just have this very weird, limited perception where it's like their reality isn't anyone else's reality. Like, he could have said, you know, I'm sorry, I was mad at you, so I was being messy. I don't know, what the fuck, like, it's like they're both crazy. They're both fucking crazy. So they had this coke-fueled argument. You know, it's like this zesty Spanish argument. They're yelling and screaming at each other. And then Sin is just left sitting there the way I was kind of sitting there watching the whole thing. Like what the fuck just happened? It made no sense. Then Juju and Remy meet up. Remy looks good. And she's pregnant, which is great considering what she went through last season, where she was hospitalized and she lost the baby. So she's carrying beautifully. She looks really good. And the baby isn't like dragging her by her uterus, you know. She still looks like Remy. Sometimes, like Juju said, you know, pregnancy can practically deform some people. But Remy looks good. And she's got a lot of stuff going on. She's got clothes coming. She's got the baby coming. And she's starting this foundation to help reform women that were once prison inmates. Good for you, Remy. Like, way to turn it around. I'm not mad at it at all. And then she's still got, you know, Papoose, as always. They're just a really beautiful couple. And I like that Remy is kind of taking on more of a big sister role. And, you know, I guess she just wants to have a very smooth pregnancy. So she doesn't really seem to be entertaining shit or keeping up shit. She's kind of just sitting back, you know, and just watching and eating cheeseburgers. Great. Cool. I'm down with that. And Juju is just booked, blessed, and busy. And Remy and Juju agree to having a meetup with Yandy to talk about what's really going on. Okay, whatever. So, the next scene, we cut to Sydney Starr. You know, Sydney Starr is like ass, titties, snatched in the middle, and she sits down to have lunch with Jacquet and Rich Dollaz. And Jacquet, you know, he's just so gross to me. He kind of reminds me of Yoshi. I don't know if y'all know who that is. Most people do, but Yoshi from Smash Brothers or Super Mario, wherever you know him from. He looks like Yoshi. He looks like a fucking turtle, honestly. Maybe he's more like Bulbasaur. Either way, Jacquet just looks gross to me. And he's like, you know, lusting after Sydney Starr, which is also annoying. Like, why can't you just be fucking professional, you know? Keep your eyes off the tits and listen to what she has to say. Why can't you do that? But she does like this freestyle that's like, it's clear that she just wants to establish that she is transgender. I feel like the freestyle wasn't her full potential. Like, I don't feel like that's what she could really do. Like, there were hints of it here and there, but like all that other I'm a chick with a dick stuff, I feel like it was just for the show. And Jacquet kind of just like, you know, his dick deflates. Okay, whatever. Then we go to Anais' house, and, you know, she's sitting there with her husband, folding laundry. Her husband looks like he kills people with his hands for a living. And he looks like her dad. Like, he looks way older than Anais. And Anais looks like she's fucking stoned out of her mind, and she's like pretending to wrangle her children and help them with homework. I don't know what the fuck was going on. All I could see was that Anais was high as hell. And then her and her husband clearly have some kind of marital issues going on, because they're trying to talk about, you know, her career not popping off and he's not doing enough around the house. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? Stop working? But I feel like they have some really deep issues that goes beyond what they were trying to talk about in that scene. And in all honesty, you know, like, I feel like there's no love between them. I feel like, I don't know, maybe when they met, they were attracted to each other, or, you know, he had some kind of use for her, and she had some kind of use for him, and now they've just grown bitter and resentful toward each other. It's a weird thing that I picked up on watching them interact with each other. But he also seems to be very patient with her and very nice to her. Then we cut to this fucking, like, they showed the cube on Astor Place, but then they cut to, like, the Dykeman street sign. Okay. And we see Sydney meeting up with her fine-ass friend, Byron. She tells Byron that she's meeting with, or working with, rather, Rich Dollaz. And Byron's like, for what? For what about what? Like, for what about what? And I get it, like, what has Rich Dollaz done, you know? Like, he has all these made-up businesses, and she plugs in, like, she drops all these tired-ass names, like, Erica Mena. What is she doing? Taking care of herself like she always has. You know, Rich didn't really do shit for her, but give her a plot line on the show. Musically, like Byron said, we know nothing of Erica Mena. Olivia faded into obscurity. Don't know what she's doing. If anything, she's probably like a model for Cream of Nature relaxer and color boxes or something. Like, you know, who has Rich Dollaz really produced? Like, even DJ Self can say that he has a good rap sheet, because he almost had Cardi B, and he brought us Dream Doll. So, like, Rich is he just has no fucking credibility, and like, this is why I fucking hate these shows, because I really want to see what it's like. Like, what are you really doing on the day-to-day basis? You know, show us your business meetings with these flat tummy tea brands. Show us, like, what you're fucking eating for dinner because you didn't make that deal with that person. Show us, like, how hard it is to sell tickets for a party that you're hosting, and like, what the ride home is that night. Like, I feel like these shows are just fucking plummeting in quality. But, yeah, just, you know, Byron was just telling her, like, to essentially just keep her best interest at heart. And that, because, you know, she expressed, like, a fear of Rich not working with her anymore because the hip-hop scene is extremely homophobic, which is true, and that's a valid concern. But like Byron said, if he sees your worth, he'll keep working with you. And that's true. Then we go to Juelz and Kimber for another episode of Intervention on A&E. You know, he's like doing this freestyle in the studio. She comes in to see him, and he tells her that the sentence has been, like, increased. The time has increased. It's gone from 18 months to 27 months or 57 months. Some shit. It's just some crazy shit. But she brings it to his attention that had he not been abusing drugs, things would be different. And for some reason, he just, you know, I feel like he's just in that phase where he's not ready to admit to it. You know, they say that admission is the first step. Like, admitting, owning your shit is the first step to recovery. And clearly he's not there yet, because he sees it as two different things. But, you know, like I said, only someone on drugs, only a drug addict would bring a gun to an airport and not be entirely sure what happened. So they have that discussion. He wants to avoid it. I don't even remember how that scene ended. I stopped paying attention. Juju, Yandy, and Remy get together, and they're like drinking this lemonade, and it's the kind of lemonade I hate. It looks like Minute Maid lemonade, like that weird, yellow color. It's just weird looking lemonade. And Remy drank all of hers, so I guess it was good. But Juju tells Yandy that she feels like she's been talked about, that she feels like people are making her out to be someone that's a snake. No, Juju, you're not the snake. Yandy's the snake. She has the eyes to prove it. Yandy makes it about herself, and she's like fucking deflecting, saying that, she's just full of shit. And Remy lets Yandy know that she's full of shit in a very nice way. And Juju checks her about not telling everyone, or not telling her friends, rather, about the whole Mendices thing. And Yandy kind of just deflects, and, she's a snake. She just kind of does the thing that snakes do, like when they're under attack and they kind of like bounce off the ground and wriggle around. That's what the fuck she was doing. So, big surprise. And then Juju asks Yandy a question that kind of goes back to what I said in the last video about Yandy being up under everybody's man. She's like, did you go to Cameron and say something? Why does that keep happening, Yandy? What are you doing? What is your motive? What's the point? Whatever. We see Nia Lee in the next scene, and she looks completely different. She had a baby. She had a girl. Congratulations. Ooh, excuse me. And, like, one thing that I found kind of disappointing is that she kind of looks like everyone else now. She always had that body. Remember, I think she was a stripper at one point. She's always had that body, but now she's kind of just giving the same look. She has, like, the wigs, the multicolored wigs and all of that. And, I don't know, I guess maybe the baldy doesn't look the same on her anymore. But for what it's worth, she looks good, and it looks like she's doing well. And she's on stage with Jacque's whack ass. They get off the stage, and then she kind of tries to have, like, a little argument with Rich. And then Rich opens up that nasty mouth of his, and he's like just being very, it's like he shows his age when he's talking to women, and I feel like that's kind of what draws women to him, when he kind of puts on that wise daddy pimp shit. He's talking about humbleness. It's not humbleness, it's humility, for one. But he's, dropping gems on her, telling her, like, he's been in the game for 20 years, and if she had any consideration for her career, she would have approached him differently. Then Sydney comes in, and she's wearing one of my favorite color combinations, a checker print and like a bold color. I like red or yellow with that. She just looks cute. Like, I always like that racer shit. She's wearing, like, some racer jumper shit. I like it. And then they start going at it, and then Nia's, like, dropping what she thinks are, like, the lines of the century, talking about plates and tables, and Sydney was just like, I'm hungry. Like, so what's up? I was here for that. That was funny. But all in all, a very underwhelming scene. Rich breaks it up. They go off to the side. He's talking to Sydney, saying, like, she can't be popping off like that. That seems to be the thing lately. Everyone's telling artists that, like, they keep finding these artists in the ghetto. They keep finding these fucking artists in the saloons with all the cowboys, and then they tell them that they can't shoot anybody. What the fuck do you expect? Sydney is not, like, I don't know what her upbringing was, but I know that as someone that has a lot of gay friends and that has been around transgender people, you know, they don't come from like a posh upbringing. They've had to fight their entire lives. So if they even get the slightest inkling that you're talking shit about them or you're coming at them a certain way, they're gonna go off. Like, they don't care. So that was stupid to me. But, like, you know, Jacque's talking shit and Rich is, you know, them together, they're really annoying with that fake cool bullshit. They're fucking lame. Nia Lee said it a couple seasons ago. They're fucking lame. Whatever. Like, let's move on. Juelz and Kimbella go to court, and I guess the sentencing wasn't deliberated on just yet, so it's like this whole music montage, and then they start having this argument about who did what, and you know, Kimbella's just like, you have to take responsibility for your shit. Like, you have to take accountability for basically your actions. Like, and it's true, Juelz has pretty much been playing the victim for the entirety of these past few episodes, where he's just like, you know, just an innocent goon that got caught. But it's like, no, you were on drugs and you made bad decisions, and now shit is fucked up, and you can't just walk around acting like, you know, you're completely innocent of everything. And I think that's all she was trying to say. And then, you know, he kind of deflects and starts throwing stuff back at her about what she's done and who slept downstairs and who slept upstairs. And I'm just looking at this motherfucker with his bottom lip sunken in, and I just got so fucking angry. Because one thing I hate, you know, is how men will be in the prime of their lives. You know, they'll look great, they'll be at the top of their careers, and what do? They fucking squander it. They'll cheat on their wives, you know, waste their wives' best years, and then come back to them looking like shit. Come back to them at like negative 750%. And then who's there? Like, I hate it. I remember when I was in, like, I want to say middle school, Juelz was the shit. Juelz had everybody wearing their hats tipped all over to the side and shit. Juelz had everybody wearing bandanas again. You know, he was young and pretty. And now he looks like a fucking misshapen potato. And you drag Kimbella through 9 years and 3 kids, and now this is what she's left with. A drug addict facing jail time. Like, where is the fairness in that? And why can't you just... I mean, I don't even think an apology makes a difference at this point. But that was the episode. Like I said, very underwhelming. I wasn't that interested. I almost want to watch old episodes of Bad Girls Club just so I could be excited about something and not feel like I wasted my life. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I've never been so nauseated